Hello, people of the internet. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Happy Monday to you all. Thank you for being patient with me while it took me a couple extra days to get around to the album. I would have gotten around to it Saturday or Sunday, and Papa LT blew out his back moving inventory Friday afternoon, so I had to cover while he was recovering. And I went on a fishing trip with some friends on Sunday. So we're getting around to it now. Hopefully I didn't keep you waiting for too long. Of course, we're getting around to the Drama mini album, the Drama EP from aespa that dropped alongside the title track, Drama, I believe, Friday on the 10th or something like that. So let's get into it. Hopefully SM are kind with the album listen and they don't nuke it out of oblivion. But if you're new around here or you've never been around for an album listen with me before, we just go through the album from beginning to end, read off the credits for every song, listen through it, do the whole musical waffle, and that's pretty much it. Pretty run-of-the-mill. If you want to skip ahead to a specific B-side of your choice, timeline below is going to be chapter based off of whatever song we're listening to, keeping in mind that if this album listen did get a big no-no from SM, it's going to be chopped up. We'll make do is what we have to do. But let's get started sharpish one time. DJ, roll the intro. Now, typically, we don't go through the title track again on these album listens just to save time, but I want to run through the title track again today for two reasons. One, it's been a few days now since I've listened to it, and two, this was one of those songs that did not resonate with me as much as I thought it would on first listen. And I got a couple comments about that, but it's like, I go into every release thinking I'm really gonna like it, but when a song challenges me musically, it takes me a while to process it. So I'm hoping a few days rest has allowed me, kind of like the mental flexibility to better understand the song. So we're gonna run through Drama again. Plus it gives me a reason to go through the song credits and stuff. I've given my thoughts on the MV proper. If you want to go see that, that's on the aespa playlist. You can find that over there. It's also pretty recent on the channel as well. But let's get started. Track number one. This is Drama. Lyrics by Bang Hye-hyun of Jam Factory, Elisa 153 Junebus. Composition, No Identity, Waker 153 Junebus, EJ, Charlotte Wilson, and No Identity on arrangements. Here we go. Also, I saw a comment about this giving teriyaki voice. That's it. It's got that plucky synth from the Tokyo Drift theme. This progression into the vocal half of the verse is actually very nice. It's so subtle, but they make it work so well. And then, of course, the melodic pre-chorus. Yeah, that I bring the still gives me Hyo vibes. I think that's kind of cool. And the attitude we get in the chorus too is actually quite nice. I feel like it went a little bit underappreciated for me first time around. Drama. Yeah, and the fact that the word drama drives this song is so cool. That 날 놓지 마치, the delivery that Ning has for that, I love the sass in that. You know where I would love to listen to this song? In a car. Just feel the bass in like a big room, omnidirectional speakers, really experience this song at a loud volume. At the risk of getting tinnitus, but you know, you get my point. I feel like this is a very good car song, especially if you've got a nice bass in your car. I love how sharp Winter's high tone is for a song like this, because it really just cuts through everything.
너로 시작될마?
3 days later, it has processed a little bit more for me. It's the attitude, it's the sass, it's the energy. And honestly, I said it on Friday as well, but the power the word drama holds is actually very surprising, because I feel like we don't come across many songs where one specific word, holds the power over the entire song. Like, the word drama holds the reins on this song. Every single time, like, drama gets dropped in that, you know, attitude, with that tone, the song cuts, makes way for that word specifically. Drama, ma, 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 that sets the tone and sets the pace of that phrase of the song. And I think that's very cool from a compositional point of view. And I'm surprised it's grown on me so quick, because, like, I equated it to Girls and Savage when those dropped. And those took a fair bit longer for me to really sink my teeth into. This 3 days for a song that I thought was one of the most complicated aespa tracks that have dropped in recent times. So that's a pretty quick turnaround for me. I'm like impressed with myself. Oh, that's really weird. Anyways, track number 2. We're getting into the new B-sides now. This is Trick or Trick. Lyrics by Kim Min-ji of Gem Factory. Composition Kristin Langsrud, August Dagestad, Johanne Litt, Stian Niehammer Olsen, or Niehammer Olsen, depending on where you're from. Arrangement Stian Niehammer Olsen. All right, here we go.
Now you see me, now you don't. 한순간에 끌려 끊는 마주함이 깜빡할 새 hold it 너의 시야 밖을 out of. 조금 짓궂은 trick. 맹도 내 목소리.
Again, we're getting a little bit of the attitude. It's not as clear as drama, but it's there. Build it. I hear that riser. Oh, hello, nasty drop. This is taking me back to my EDM phase. Oh, and they're gonna keep around the 808 a little bit. I thought they'd kind of switch it up for something else for the verses, but... Oh, that's a heavy drop, man. I love that. And the thing is, they give you time to prep for it too, and it's so nice. Yeah, this drop is actually very gross, and I love it. And then Now You See Me, Now You Don't also has that little playfulness to it too. I think that it creates a very nice contrast from the otherwise very aggressive chorus. Brassy Synths doing a little call and response. You see me, now you don't. Nice vocal harmony at the end there too, to add a little bit of vocal texture to it. Wow! Trick or Trick bringing the fire, bringing the heat, bringing the ear rattlers. Yeah, that's great. I had an EDM phase in high school, which is going on like 10 years ago, which makes me feel very old. I don't know why. Age crisis regardless. I love a good EDM drop. And while this isn't like entirely the same kind of EDM stuff that I would listen to in like the early to mid 2010s, it has enough similarity to it where I can thoroughly enjoy it. And I think just the intensity of that initial hit you get in that chorus, that you feel it. You like, there's a riser and then you get the woof of the drop of the beat. And the fact that you can feel that entire drop from head to toe and it just hits you like full blunt force trauma-esque, I think that's so cool. And it's exactly the kind of sensation I want from a really intense EDM drop of that nature. So thank you, aespa. Thank you, the music team, for dropping one like that. And honestly, so far this album is 2 for 2 in terms that I want to listen to it in the car with the speakers cranked up, with the bass cranked up, because I reckon these would be an experience. Ooh. It's very nice indeed. Also, definitely not slacking on the attitude again either, is it? But we move on. Track number 3. Don't Blink. Lyrics by Huang Yubin of Very Goods. Composition Dylan Deskin, Tima D, Deanna Villarreal. And arrangement Dylan Deskin. Here we go. Oh, what is this gonna cook with? Hold on. Hello, 808. Until we get this weird like resonator guitar vibe, it almost feels video gaming. Yeah, there's a kind of quirkiness to it that almost gives me like platformer video game vibes, and I don't know why. I think I might be feeling this way just because I'm fresh off of listening to the Red Velvet album, but that unison chorus is actually very nice with that, with their voices on it. There's very subtle harmonization going on in the background too. Again, there's Winter's sharp tone. It just cuts so clean over everything. Hello, vocal chops. Oh. And a late rap verse too. Oh, I like that it... Oh, that transition was so nice with the growing harmony into the unison chorus. I was going to say, having that transition start with that descending scale and then working your way back up makes that greater effect, and it feels so nice. That song got a little bit busy towards the end. I'm not gonna lie though, I like the busyness of it. It works for me. It's like, it's almost saying like, you know, don't blink, because if you do, you're gonna miss important details of the song. And it does kind of feel that way to me, and that's very interesting. So don't blink does give, like, immediately when I think of that phrase, it reminds me of Doctor Who. Anyways, non sequitur. Yeah, it does give me video game vibes, and I don't really understand what video game would make me think this way, but it feels platformery. Like it's got the pluckiness to it. It feels a little bit digital, at least the instrumental part does. But I think the unison chorus is a really interesting direction for them, one that works for me. And especially because it's a unison chorus, but then you have like individual members who kind of just are able to do their own thing up top, whether it's, you know, Winter having some ad-libs, Ning Ning having some ad-libs, Cell having some ad-libs, Karina getting some ad-libs. It doesn't really matter who, but the fact that you get a 4-member unison vocal part, but it's not always a 4-part, it's like a 3+1 sometimes, or like a 2 and a 2, and I think getting kind of big choruses like that could be an interesting direction for them. But that transition into what I'm guessing is the bridge into the final chorus, that those two sections put together, I think that's like the crowning moment of the song for me, which is very nice to listen to. Right, as my phone times out, so we gotta keep moving. All right, track number 4, Hot Air Balloon, lyrics by Jo Yoon Kyung, composition Moa Cassiopeia, Carl Becker, Ellen Berg, Alyssa Nerman, Haram Basic, Stian Niehammer Olsen, and Alyssa on arrangements. Couple of familiar names, couple of them from this album, couple of them from the Red Velvet album from earlier today. Okay, when I said don't blink sounded video gamey, hold on a second. It's also very cute. Honestly, this kind of sound directional change has kind of caught me off guard a little bit. Is this like this album's Yeppy Yeppy where it's just really bright and kind of cutesy? Don't get me wrong, I like this as like a kind of cutesy bouncy song. Directionally, I'm just kind of confused on how this connects. Sustained 808s, hello. Pretty natural progression into the second pre-chorus, quick riser. It's not as extreme as the example I'm gonna give, but it's really giving me Luna Yum Yum vibes right now. Like, it's weirdly cutesy. It's definitely the whiplash for me that's doing it though. A little tambourine action going. There's the release. This one's kind of sent me for a trip a little bit, I'm not gonna lie. Like, Hot Air Balloon as a song on its own is quite cutesy, and it's quite bouncy, and I like it because it's a little bit charming in that way. But what is it doing here? Like, you know, Drama, Trick or Trick, Dope, like, those are very clearly darker, rougher, louder, more in-your-face songs. And then all of a sudden, we've just really flipped the script one time, and I'm lost. And I don't know if it's maybe trying to be like going along the lines of Yeppy Yeppy from a few albums ago. I don't even know how long ago what album was Yeppy Yeppy a part of. But I really like Yeppy Yeppy, and it's a very nice song to listen to. For the same reasons that it is a little bit bright, and it's a little bit cutesy, and it's a bubbly, bouncy pop song. Hot Air Balloon has kind of taken that and really gone with it. Oh, very interesting. I wonder if there's kind of like a background story with this. Because sometimes you come across groups that get songs that are kind of in like the label's back storage, or like locked away in the corner for future use that never sees the light of day until a few years later. I wonder if this was originally meant for like a Red Velvet, like an earlier Red Velvet era. Just listening to it gives me like Reve Festival, early Reve Festival, like B-side vibes, and I don't know why. And I'm quickly realizing the unison chorus vocal question, the point that I brought up earlier, I might be misremembering, but having listened to Hot Air Balloon now and having gotten this far into the album, I feel like I've forgotten that aespa have done a lot more unison vocal choruses than I remembered. I might have to go back and fact check myself on that later, but yeah, Hot Air Balloon is this is an interesting song for me. Because I like it, and I know why I like it, but I don't know what it's doing here. I wonder if that trend's going to continue for any of the other B-sides, or if it's just this one exclusively. But we don't want to mull on that too much, because we still have 2 more B-sides to get around to. This is track number 5, YOLO. Lyrics by Na Yoon Jung of La La Studio. Composition, Albie Albertson, Anna Timgren, and then Albie Albertson on arrangements. Do we have an EDM banger on our hands? Oh, it's a bit firmer than I thought. Hello, guitars. Hold on a second. Let the song cook. Hold on. Long, big riser. Whoa. They've taken two genres of music that I very much enjoy, mashed them together, and kind of made it work. They've taken the intensity and the crunch from your hard rock, and then you've got the composition of an EDM banger, and it works. Yeah, like the song progresses like an EDM song, but it's using instruments that wouldn't be out of place in a hard rock song. What is happening? The weird like skipping mixing they do on that second YOLO I think is very cool. Such a small subtle detail. Very subtle bit of reverb added to that long held note from Winter there. Okay, so I guess we've progressed into a kind of cutesier second half of the album, which is very interesting directionally. Because, well, this album has now officially gone like 2 in a row where it goes into that kind of cutesier, brighter tone. And, well, don't get me wrong, I enjoy it. In fact, like, the combination of Hot Air Balloon into YOLO is actually quite a nice combo. I feel like this would be very nice on, like, a drive. Like, I would pop these two songs on if I'm popping out for a bit in the car. I'll get the Android Auto connected. Get these songs queued up and then just enjoy them in the car, tap along on the steering wheel as I'm waiting at stoplights and stuff like that. Which is very nice. And I like the cutesy characteristic of these two songs. And YOLO, for me, again, has taken two genres of music that I am very passionate about. I love EDM. I had my EDM phase. I think we've gone over it on this album review already. And then, like, hard rock. And, like, the instruments from hard rock. I grew up around rock music. I was the kind of kid that got in trouble for singing Aerosmith in the airplane. And I was like 4. And I grew up on all the 80s and like late 70s, 80s, hard rock, like your second wave of the British invasion, German metal, your hair metal, power ballads, like that era. That era of music is like my bread and butter, and I love that type of music. And while the guitar sounds you get in YOLO aren't exactly from that age and era, it's like distant cousin of that era. And to kind of see those two come together in a way where it does kind of come across as just an EDM-based pop song is kind of sending my brain for a trip a little bit. Huh. Very interesting. The album structure for this too, very interesting. Very much an album with two halves at the moment. And I'd honestly throw in song number 7 in there as well. Even though we're not going to get around to it, song number 7 is Better Things. And I think we must have covered it on OST Saturday because it was part of their sitcom series. But that also is not a very like heavy and intense aespa song. It's very much more along the brighter lines. So that makes me wonder if track number 6 is going to be of the same scenario. So this is track number 6, the final song on our album list today, titled You. Lyrics by Yi or Nul. Composition JK of Artifact, Maria Marcus, MCK of Artifact, St. Knox of Artifact, and Louis Frixveen. Arrangement JK of Artifact, MCK of Artifact, St. Knox of Artifact. All right. Nature.
너를 바라볼 때 이수짓는 나를 발견해 내 사랑을 따라 난 한 걸음 두 걸음 앞으로 한 끝만 봐도 우린
It's
서로를
quite bright to be a ballad, but it's got kind of that natural, almost Yimujin coded vibes.
우리로만 가득 채운 저
Yeah, it's like Jung Seung-kwan, 10cm, Yimujin, like songs from those solos we've checked out this year. Pick the harmonies. Get up there in range, Winter. She just soars up there. Oh, that descending scale.
한없이 다 주었던 눈부신 너의 마음은 지나왔던 길마다
Plenty of vocal harmonies in here.
고개를 내밀고 어둠을 밝혀 펴안고 오로라처럼 번져가 짙은 어둠 가득하던 밤에도 네 모습 기억해 어디서든 느낄 수 있어 누구보다 멀리 볼 수 있게 어느 길을
It's got the delicacy of a soft emotional ballad, but it's a little bit brighter, and for me, that is genuinely the appeal of this type of music. It doesn't matter who sings it, but it's the gentle attack and the emotional value of it, but the very gentle, like, sound you get from it and the sensation you get from listening to it. And this song, I think, really showcases just how different each member's vocal colors are. Hello, octaves. I heard those whistle tones back there. Who's up there? Okay, honestly, is such a nice album in there. Because technically, yes, I know there's one more song on the album, like Better Things comes after this on the studio or on the printed album. But if we're talking about just new music from this era, You is the final song. And I think as a finale to a project, or say, if there would be a concert series, having You at the end of it, I think is a very nice fit. It's got a nice hopeful feeling to it. It's nice and gentle. It's got a little bit of brightness to it. And it feels like a song that they would be able to perform to a crowd, and the crowd would just kind of wave along, light sticks in the air, just kind of go back and forth like this. End the evening's proceedings on a high, and I think that's great, and it translates to an album as well. Like, albums in a way kind of act like their own concert series in a way, right? Some albums sound more like concerts than others. Like most recently, we came across Wavy's on my Youth album, and that really felt like a full-on concert with the way the album progressed. aespa's You, though, typically on a pop album, you end with a ballad, and while this isn't your typical ballad, it's got everything you want from a ballad. It's got the gentleness to it. It's got the emotion to it. It's very gentle. It's very soft. And I think it's a great way to end the album. Having said that, I've been listening to You. This very much confirms this working theory in a way that this album very much is an album of two halves. Like, you have your side A and your side B. You have your intense and heavy. You have your bright, bubbly, and gentle. And to have an album that is so clearly split in two like this, It's very interesting. 2 takeaways. Well, actually, 3 takeaways. One, and this is mainly because I'm off of listening to the Red Velvet album earlier today. I definitely have missed the amount of unison vocal choruses we get from aespa, because this album was pretty much entirely done with unison choruses, which I feel like is a fact that I never clocked on with aespa's music before until now. And I wonder if I made a similar comment to that when we checked out the My World album when that dropped earlier in the year, right? That was earlier this year. I wonder if I made the same comment about that. 2. The Two Halves album, because like Drama, Trick or Trick, Don't Blink very much is in this realm of like the aggressive, the intense. And all of a sudden we get into Hot Air Balloon, YOLO, and you get a massive style switch, right? I wonder if these were part of other projects, specifically Hot Air Balloon, YOLO, and You. I wonder if they were part of different projects, or originally intended to be part of different projects, because they sound so far detached from what Drama, Trick or Trick, and Don't Blink are. And, well, I mean, You, as a standalone ballad, like, if you have an album that is very intense and kind of heavy and dramatic with the way the album starts with drama, you know, Trick or Trick, Don't Blink, it's hard to incorporate a ballad, so I guess You kind of gets a hall pass in that regard, but Hot Air Balloon and YOLO just feels so far detached, and I wonder what the actual origin story is. But here's the thing with YOLO and Hot Air Balloon. I keep mentioning that it feels detached from the album, but it doesn't mean I don't like the songs. I like the songs. They're very bright and cutesy, and I quite like that. As someone who really enjoys Yippee Yippee, like, it's giving me that kind of vibes. It just feels strange in a way. And I'd be curious to see what other people think about specifically those 2 songs on the album. But overall, I think showing off the variety that they have on an album like this is really cool, because it has showcased their range on what they're capable of doing. I wonder what an entire album of the darker concept would have sounded like, though. Because I feel like it, and again, this is a personal take, so you might not, or you definitely won't feel the same. And if you don't, doesn't mean you're wrong. Like, there is no right or wrong when it comes to opinions. But I feel like this feels like 2 separate single albums mashed together, and I would have liked to hear an entire album of the Dark and Intense, just because having listened to Drama last week, had a weekend to let it marinate, and then coming back to it again today, I was ready for intense music. And the fact that it's like, I prepped so much and I didn't really need to use a whole lot of brain knowledge in that department, kind of makes me feel bad, because it's like when you take a test at school, you study so hard for what's on the exam, you take it, and you realize it was the easiest thing in the world and you didn't need to spend 10 hours the night before cramming in all the knowledge. It feels like that to me, and I kind of feel disappointed, not at the music, but at me. Overall for the album, though, I don't really have like anything really bad to say about the album at all. I mean, some people might take the album of 2 halves comment as bad, but that's the point. Trick or Trick is stupid good. Honestly, if Trick or Trick was the title track, I wouldn't have complained. Like, that is my B-side of the album, I reckon. Although Don't Blink is also very good. Like, 2 and 3 Trick or Trick, Don't Blink, I think might take the cake for top 2 B-sides of the album for me. Now, having said that, I feel like Hot Air Balloon is going to get a lot of plays from me. But, anyways, that's enough waffling for me today. Thank you all for listening along with me. Hopefully you enjoyed it as much as I did. One last request from me today: let us work together as a community to bring a little bit of extra happiness back into the world, whether it be, checking with your friends and family, holding the door open for somebody, or even picking up a piece of trash off the street. Just one small act of kindness that may brighten up someone else's day-to-day. And know that wherever you are in the world, should you ever be going through a tough time in your life, for whatever reason it may be, even though I'm just some guy on the internet who waffles about music in his free time, know that I will always be a friend, an ally, and a shoulder to lean on whenever you need me. So take care of yourselves, take care of each other, spread the love, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.